name is BlackWitchDirah. I am a Luciferian witch of the left-hand path and also an occult educator. Don't know why, I always film at this time of day and I hate the lighting that it gives me, but we're just gonna work with it. So the topic of today's video is going to be about the topic I spoke about in an Instagram post that I made regarding relationships with demons, with the Infernal. But before I get into that, some announcements. Working with Santa Mote Part 2 is a course that is very much ready for enrollment now. We are uploading content every week to that, so that is ready to go. So if that interests you, particularly if you did part 1 of the first course I released last year, that may be of interest to you. Links to both courses are in the description. Initiation into Life and Death is also underway. That is a learning, it's not really so much a course, more of a learning program which involves a lot of mentorship with regards to working through the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death, aka the Clipoth. So if that interests you, subscribe to our mailing list for all of the updates with that. And finally, my announcement regarding, I don't think I've mentioned this on this channel yet, but I have partnered with Atius Dade and we are releasing witch skills, and this is very much in the making. We have a mailing list for that as well. Witch Skills is an occult school which has multiple courses to offer, blending traditional occult studies and left-hand path studies with practical applications. So we have so much planned for that and I am really excited for it, so go and check that out, subscribe to the mailing list. I also have my own projects that I'm working on at the moment as well. There's so much that I'm working on, it's a little bit insane, so those will also be announced with time when they're ready to be. So into today's video. So this video that I posted on my Instagram was basically saying that demons, the Infernal, they are not your friends, they're not your parents, they don't love you, it's not a human to human relationship and interaction, which I feel like some people mistake the feelings that come up during an evocation and when you're building a working relationship with a demon. They mistake those very pleasant and euphoric feelings for real, I don't want to say real emotions because they are real emotions, but they're just misinterpreted, I feel. When you work with demons, I remember when I first started, and at the time I thought it was the most amazing thing I'd ever experienced in my life in terms of like the rush, all the kind of like chemical high that I got from it, right? Because it does do that. And you know, the energy that I felt in my body in certain energy centers, particularly like maybe my heart chakra, my third eye, my sacral, my root, my solar plexus, like everywhere, you know, like the different demons I'd work with would kind of activate these different energy centers within me, therefore evoking certain emotions. Now this is a very normal thing to happen for people, right? It's kind of part of it. If you're working with, I know for example when I work with Astaroth, my heart chakra opens. I know if I work with Lilith, my sacral and my root open. Just because my heart chakra opens when I work with Astaroth, that does not mean I have a loving relationship with Astaroth. I might have feelings of love for her, but she does not have those for me. And that, I feel like people misinterpreted me saying that as me trying to basically tell other people about their reality and tell other people about that they're wrong for feeling that. You're not wrong for feeling that. Like if you love a demon, love a demon. I don't fucking care. I'm just saying that you need to remember the nature of the Infernal, that you are not special, that you are not their child. That is not what you are. These beings are not here to parent you. And I feel like we, as human beings, we have, and I think we've always kind of had it, we have this natural leaning towards considering the divine as parental. And this makes a lot of sense from like a psychological aspect, right? Because when we're small children, our parents are literally gods to us, right? They are, you know, they are everything. They're everything that we know of our reality. They are the people that make things happen. You know, they're almost magical to us. So therefore it kind of makes sense that we see spiritual beings as parental figures, but they're not. Being parental is not the same as having maternal and paternal energy. Like, you might find that Lilith has a very maternal energy, right? Doesn't mean that she's literally your mother. Because if that was the case, this relationship that you have would be unconditional. There'd be no transaction involved. There'd be no sacrifice. There'd be no giving of offerings. There'd be no sacrifice of your time. You make those offerings, you make those sacrifices so that you are heard. If she was just unconditionally your mother, that, you know, that's not going to be the case. And then there's this whole thing of like, oh, aren't all relationships transactional in some way? Maybe, but we still can't compare the dynamics in our human relationships to the dynamics that we have in our working relationships with spiritual beings. And then there was this whole thing, like, I was describing the nature of the Infernal, how the Infernal aren't really here for the good of humanity. They're pretty indifferent to humanity. They listen to us as human beings because we make them listen to some degree, because we're performing a whole invocation, giving them offerings, giving them our time and being like, hi, like, we're here. Yeah, they're gonna listen. But, you know, if you're not gonna, they're not here to benefit humanity, like, as a whole. And therefore that implied to some people that, you know, demons don't care, and I don't really think they do care. I don't think they really give that much of a shit at all, because, you know, in my experience of working with demons, you know, they give me advice, they offer me wisdom, and, you know, about how to live my life and about how to go about certain things. If I don't listen, they don't really give that much of a shit. You know, if I come back with my tail between my legs, they're going to be like, yeah, I told you so. But they're not going to give that much of a shit if I don't listen. Like, I'm not that important. I'm not that important to them. They're not sitting there in their realm worrying, oh God, like, I hope Dyra's like doing what I told her to do. I literally cannot think about anything else until I know that she's doing what I told her to do. I'm not that fucking important, and neither are you. That being said though, if you have a continuous working relationship with a demon and you're coming to them with the same shit all the time, they are going to get fucking bored of it. They are going to be like, look, you need to pull your shit together and actually listen to what I'm saying. But that's just because you're probably getting on their nerves rather than them actually caring about your well-being. And it sounds harsh. I get that it's coming across to people as harsh, but I'm not meaning to be harsh. Basically what I'm telling you here is the complete opposite of what you might be interpreting this as. Because you might be thinking Dyra's taking a big shit on everyone who thinks that demons love them and care for them. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying to tell you here is that you are enough on your own without needing love, validation and care from the Infernal. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because the whole point of the left-hand path is becoming your own god, right? And the whole like self-evolution that comes with that. This is why working with demons, they are so focused on your own self-improvement, because they're basically teaching you how to become your own god. So what I'm trying to get across here is that it's okay that Lucifer isn't your dad. It's okay, it's all right. You're still enough. If Lucifer's not claiming you as a child of his own, you are still enough. That doesn't mean you're not worthy of working with him. Like, I feel like people have to make themselves really special because they have such an inferiority complex deep down about working with the Infernal, because they're like, oh, I'm not good enough, I need to be really special to this infernal being to feel like I'm worthy of working with them. You're still enough. You don't have to be their child. They don't have to love you for you to be enough. They can teach you how to fucking love yourself though, and that's what most people need to work on. Another thing as well is like, I got some comments under this video saying, oh, but I don't like that you've called Lucifer a demon or refer to him as that, and I'm like, okay, but he's an infernal. And they're like, yeah, but, you know, like there was just a lot of reference to people talking about like Astaroth and Lucifer, like not always being demonic or not always being infernal, and, you know, like Ishtar and Inanna and etc., right? The various emanations of Astaroth and, you know, further emanations of Lucifer, right? Okay, I get that. I'm literally writing a book about this shit, by the way, so yeah, I know. But I'm gonna make the assumption here that the way in which you are working with Astaroth and with Lucifer is probably through the demonolatry and, you know, goetic way of doing so with Astaroth, that is, right? As in, you are setting up your space as such. You're making a blood offering on the sigil, you're chanting the demonic end, therefore you are working with the infernal aspect. So how are you not acknowledging that these beings are infernal and therefore have an infernal nature? You know? And also, on the note of them having previous emanations, that doesn't mean they gave more of a shit about you back then, you know, to the people that venerated them. Doesn't mean they gave any more of a shit about them then than they do now, regardless of their aspects. You know, they're gods. They're gods. Or they were in those previous emanations anyway. And also this idea about all demons being ancient gods. Some, yeah. Like I said, I'm writing a book about this, so my research is deep right now into basically each and every demon of the Lesser Key of Solomon. I'm really doing a deep dive on that stuff. Some have a very rich history. Astaroth, Baal, very, very rich history across different periods, yes. Some are just demons. Some of them are just goetic demons. They don't have to have all this, like, rich history and, you know, going, oh, but they're not really just a demon. I'm pretty sure they're fine with being just demons, by the way. Like, I'm pretty sure they're okay with that. You don't have to make them feel better about the fact that they're demons, because that is your own deep down conditioning that demons are inherently bad. So I can't call them just a demon, because that is that means they're evil. Yeah, you need to sort that out, that weird idea that you've got. Some of them literally only appear in the Lesser Key of Solomon or the Book of Offices, and those particular grimoires are nowhere else. Some of them don't have history beyond that, or at least that's not traceable anyway. And the final point I'm going to make is the way Abrahamic, the term Abrahamic is used, okay? So I've done my fair share of publicly shitting on Abrahamic religion. I can now say that my stance has somewhat changed, because we are allowed to change our opinions, we are allowed to evolve. My view on it has somewhat changed because I don't know what my practice would be without Abrahamic religion. I don't know what demonolatry would be today without Abrahamic religion. We wouldn't have the Qliphoth, because that is based on Jewish mysticism. You know, a lot of the systems we work with, we wouldn't fucking have it if Abrahamic religion wasn't a thing. And we're like, oh, it's bastardized our whole, you know, pantheon of Infernal. Like, yeah, it has, but also a lot of what you do, a lot of what you're doing is based on Abrahamic tradition, and you don't really realise it. So I'm kind of in this grey area now about it, where I'm not absolutely like, yeah, Abrahamic religion is fucking evil. It has its place. It has its fucking place. And the thing is that people don't want to acknowledge that the Infernal are within an Abrahamic system. For example, the Qliphoth. Lucifer is at the top of that tree. Lilith is in that tree, Astaroth is in that tree, Baal is in that tree, Beelzebub is in that tree. Therefore, Abraham, and you don't want to acknowledge that Abrahamic aspect, because you're like, oh, because of that religious trauma. Or maybe it's not even as much religious trauma, maybe it's just complete complete just disdain just because of you think that's the way to be on the left-hand path, is to have disdain for Abrahamic religion, and it's not. You think that that's the correct attitude to adopt, and it's not. Maybe correct is the wrong word. Appropriate. You think that that's the appropriate attitude to adopt. If you're talking about the history of these beings, right, and you're going, oh, but they weren't always infernal, or they weren't always Abrahamic, you've got to acknowledge the full picture. You can't just go cherry picking, going, oh yeah, Ishtar from the Babylonian and Sumerian times, and Lucifer was the morning star in the Roman period. Like, acknowledge all of it. You need to acknowledge all of it, and you need to acknowledge that the systems you are working in with regards to demonolatry, the Lesser Key of Solomon, there's so much Abrahamic influence in it. If that's an issue, you need to reevaluate whether you want to practice demonolatry anymore. You are working with the Infernal, okay? And then my last point I'm gonna make as well is, I've made a point in this video saying, like, if you want a motherly figure in your life as part of your personal pantheon, I spoke about Santa Maite because, you know, she is the most motherly spirit that I have in my life, and I do feel like I know that she loves me. I know that that love is reciprocated. She probably loves me more than I love her, even though I love her so much. It's like she has more capacity for that love, right? So I referenced that in the video, and they were like, well, how can you put Santa Maite into one box and then Lucifer into another? Because Santa Maite isn't infernal. She's not infernal. I know some absolute morons like to say that she is, but she's not. I'm talking about different types of beings here. I don't think it's that hard to get your head around. I don't think it's that hard. I don't think that the fact I compared Santa Maite and the relationship you can have with her to the relationships you can have with the Infernal, I don't think the fact that I compared them is that much of a headfuck. I don't think it needs much more elaboration. But yeah. Do you know what? At the end of the day though, if you want to walk around going Lucifer loves me, good for you. I don't give a shit. I just like to talk about my opinions online. That's it. And, you know, everyone's like, because people have different opinions to me, they think that I'm on some fucking ego trip because I'm deliberately trying to piss people off, and I'm not. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm here to speak my truth. If I say at the beginning of a video that what I'm about to say is about to ruffle some feathers or piss people off, that's more me mentally preparing myself for it rather than anything to do with the fact that I'm aiming to do that, because I'm not. I don't want controversy, really, in my comments. I don't like arguing with people. That's not what I'm about. I'd rather not, but at the same time I acknowledge that my opinion is not the be-all end-all, and I also find it quite uncomfortable when people take what I say as gospel as well. Like, I like the middle ground where I don't like it when people, like, really fucking hate what I've got to say, but I also feel uncomfortable with the total opposite of that, people being like, yeah, you speak absolute truth. Like, because I don't, I speak my subjective view of the truth, and maybe there is some objective truth in it, and maybe I'm talking shit. Who the fuck knows? True wisdom is acknowledging that you know nothing. I could have my whole entire ideologies changed tomorrow, in an hour, in a minute. My reality can change in a fucking second, and everything I know could break down around me and crumble. But yeah, if Lucifer comes to me and says, Dirah, you are my child, you are my daughter, and I love you, I'll let you know. But until then, Lucifer is going to remain an infernal being that I have a lot of respect for, that I have a lot of time for, and that I think is fucking amazing. And that's about as far as it goes, because I understand the nature of our relationship, and that my human emotions aren't necessarily reciprocated by an infernal being, because they are not human. Therefore, it's really difficult to claim that they are. Okay, right, that is my rant over. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. I upload videos every Saturday, so if that sounds good to you, I talk about all sorts of shit. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and give it a like if you want as well, and check out the links in the description, and I will see you in the next one.